So, as there are some new people here, what's that? Connecting from Denmark. Oh, he's got internet problems. Christian as well. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe the persons we don't I don't know could introduce themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I see pretty much everyone here should be somewhat familiar with me, but my name is Doug, and I'm in formation with Lutecium. I am hosting the online activities at this point. And I'm in Portland, in Oregon, in the U.S.
Okay. Okay. Let's first summarize what we have seen so far. Can you see the blackboard here?
I can see the tori, but I can't see the lettering.
Okay. I'll describe the lettering. Okay. Last time we came to the acceptance that the real, the imaginary, and the symbolic are made of toruses, and we named the hole in the middle. For the real, it's called unary trait. Which, well, I'm not going to go back to all what I described last time. The imaginary is the name of this hole is the phallus. It has a minus sign, and for the symbolic. It's the whole is named signifier of a lack in the other. Okay, and then we came to the way these three dimensions are knotted together, and it is a Borromean knot, and now we are going to enter in a triad that Freud put forward, which is inhibition, which is anguish, inhibition, and symptom. Okay, and what you say?
I'm wondering, is there any possible way for you to use another microphone?
No, not this time. Well, I'll try, because it's very bad, the sound.
Yeah, I hear the whole. I think I'm hearing the whole room. So your sound is kind of muffled and dispersed. I was hoping if there were a mic that would be more specific and more immediate, then it would deliver the sound more clearly.
Yeah, I try next time, but this time I couldn't find one. Okay. So the usual situation when someone is feeling an anguish, the usual consequence is is an action. Can you tell me how to see the? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay. Now I see you. Okay, very good.
For anyone else who wants to see all the participants at the same time, if you go up into the right-hand side of the one image that you do have above the list of names, and you click on the icon that shows the three people, you'll then be able to see, you'll scroll through all the participants who are sending their video, if that's what you'd like to do.
Okay. So, I was saying that the consequence of anguish usually is action, and this sometimes this anguish is not able to lead to an action. And in this case, it instead of the action comes inhibition and symptom. And this triad is very important for us. And to describe what's happening, you can maybe see it here. What's in the anguish in this case? The anguish invades the symbolic, and so what does that mean? It means that it becomes difficult to make logical associations. And as you know, we can think of the symbolic as a series of nearly mathematical elements. So there is something that invades from the real, which invades the symbolic. The anguish, instead of which is belonging to the real, instead of starting an action, invades the symbolic.
So, Jacques,
Yeah.
Last week you were. I have in some notes. It looked as though you were placing anguish in the imaginary, and the symptom in the real, and the inhibition in the symbolic.
Anguish belongs to the real. It is the first thing that a human being feels when he, at the time he is born. Okay? Belongs to the real. It is its domain. And there, it can instead of starting an action, it stays put in a way. And where does it stay? Where does it stay put? It is in the symbolic. It invades the symbolic. Therefore, the symbolic is not that able to reason, to reasoning. So now, what are the consequences on the symbolic? Oh, yes, you're right. Imaginary. Yes, of course. It's yes, of course. Thank you. So that's how it is written here. That's right. It's this invasion leads to a how can we say that? In a way, it freezes the image of the body. The body now sees most of the time this anguish which has invaded. And what are the consequences? I come back to what you said. This produces an inhibition of the fluent move of the symbolic. That's what we have here.
So something of the real invades in the imaginary. This is causing an anguish in relationship.
Say that again. Say that again.
Something of the real is invading the imaginary. This is causing an anguish in relationship to the freezing of the image of the body.
Mm-hmm.
We have in relationship, in the real relationship with the symbolic, we have an inhibition in the fluid movement, in its fluid movement.
Mm-hmm. And the consequences now of the this inhibition, of this freezing, the consequences are going to be written on the body. And there it is invasion of the real by the symbolic. And this is the tiny part where we can interfere when we talk to an analyst. Okay, do you have some questions so far, or? Okay. Okay. What else can be said?
So, last, can you say then if what I was originally asking has some purchase here? What the symptom was related to the real in my notes from last week.
Say that again.
Maybe.
Say that again.
Yes, the symptom was related to the real in my notes from last week.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is as a result of this invasion. The symptom is in a position to be written on the body, if I can say it that way, of the real of the body. It is the invasion means it becomes intermixed in a way with the other dimension. And what can happen as well is if this intermixture is massive, this structure can be turned into a trifold knot. You know this one. And in this case, it starts to be very difficult to make the cut between the real, the symbolic, and the imaginary. They are in a way in a continuous loop. Okay, but now what happens after the resolution of the symptom? We can put it that way. In a way, it is as if there were a new cut here, putting back the symptom where it belongs, namely in the symbolic. But when it comes back, this former symptom which now does not bother me, it's gonna keep the trace, the mark of what the symptom used to be. And there we come to another knot, which is this one. You can see it now. And what happens on this knot, we have the symbolic seen from behind looks like a single torus, but actually it is made of two toruses. And this is a Borromean knot as well, because if you cut any string, everything will fall apart. So we have here what used to be the symptom, and Lacan names it symptom, as you know. This has to do with the way one can do his passion. Well, it's really hard for me to talk on this WebEx. It's really weird. I have the feeling I'm talking just for myself.
We are here.
What you say?
We are here. We hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I would just recommend that if anyone is confused or has some question or a critique, that they just bring it in at any point.
Yeah, that will help me if you ask some questions.
So you're talking now about the symptom. Last week we were drawing this same knot, and we stopped at the point where we were discussing analysis as a building out an invasion of the symbolic into the real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way that we were drawing this is we were kind of thickening the line.
Yeah.
Yes, where the symbolic enters into the real.
Yeah, that's what you have here, which is green.
Okay.
Can you see it?
The way that we were talking about this is as part of the symptom.
As part of the symptom. Is that what you said?
Part of the symptom. Yeah, part of the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're showing this second torus that appears to be around the symbolic, how do the other parts get built? Where it goes through the imaginary, and then where it continues.
Well, okay. first we have to make sure you see what's drawn on here. The former symbolic is here in green. Okay, goes like this, goes like this, goes like this, and goes like this. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and the symptom goes like this, is in black, like this, goes back. Okay. Okay?
So these are not two concentric tori.
No. There is one which is here like a bean, and the other is like this. Okay.
Okay. So then the image above, where you were outlining the green invasion of the symbolic into the real.
Yep.
This is represented in an alternate fashion in the image below.
No, it's really different. It is the there we don't figure any invasion. It's when the symptom comes back to its place, namely in the history of the subject, and needs not to be written on the body in the same fashion. It can be written in the body in the way of allowing the subject to grab temporarily his objects of desire. And in a way, it can be some kind of tool for the symbolic to remain in the Borromean knot. And each of us can find many examples of this situation. It is when you like your job, you can the people you meet or what you are building is as many objects of desire that are, and how can that this job and its tools are the tools needed to reach these objects of desire.
Can I point out something that I see new in this diagram with the symptom? Namely, the new symptom really goes through the hole in the symbolic. Formally in the triple Borromean knot, there is no case where one of those rings goes through the hole in any other. So this is something like a new operation.
Okay,
right?
I didn't get everything you said. Can you try again?
Okay, I say it again. In this diagram where you have the symptom that ties with the symbolic, but it ties with it in a new way. Namely, it goes through the hole in it. And the other three rings don't really do that. They're either all above one another.
There, it is the case as well. It is the case as well. It depends how you present it. Hold on a second. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This is you can play the game at home. It is the same structure with the four tori, and but it's another presentation. This is the presentation Lacan used very often to explain that the RSI are not knotted; they are just above one another, and the symptom is like some if you it's like a piece of cloth that you are building, but it's a Borromean knot. And you can play the game of going from this one to this one. You can do that.
Okay, I can try to do this with strings, which are easier.
What you say?
I try to do this with strings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it seems to me that we are touching on several issues here. The way you started, that was you started by talking about the anguish, and it seems that this is quite important and quite interesting and rather separate from the discussion of the symptom. So was it right that you discussed the invasion of the anguish into the symbolic and then invasion into the imaginary? And this is, separately, I'd like to have this more expanded, this discussion. How is it that the anguish invading the imaginary translates to the freezing of the image of the body? That's something that is of interest. And then the whole issue of anguish, that seems to be very important, and that is like the basis of many existentialist discussions. That's like a fundamental question in existentialist philosophy. So it's a basic experience, and it kind of erupts from the experience of existence. The real erupts into the other functions of our being. Mm-hmm. That's something I would like to have discussed more.
Mm-hmm. What was the first question?
Well, these are my comments, because they were going into we were talking about three very important things at once, and it seems to be very brief.
Okay.
And the restructuring of the symbolic into the symptom is a third topic. So the anguish to symbolic, anguish to imaginary, and then the symptom. These seem to be separate things for me.
I think we can say anguish goes from real into the imaginary. Inhibition coming from the imaginary invades the fluidity of the symbolic, and the symptom which is some kind of text, in a way. A text that is going to be written on the real. I think I remember Freud used this triad, but not in the same order. I think it was inhibition, symptom, anguish or anxiety. Not sure.
thing I'm hearing in Thomas's question is how does the anguish arise in relationship to the freezing of the image? But if I were to look at this in reverse, I think maybe, are we saying that anguish is primary when you are saying that the first experience of the womb is anguish?
Yeah.
So that it's actually the image which gets built on top of the anguish in somewhat of an attempt to make a new whole, or make a less fragmentation, or make less anguish, make more facility. And it's the interruption of the image as the real erupts, which is the freezing and the sort of experience of the anguish.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, does this move to your question at all?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the discussion that I'm thinking to myself right now. Yes.
The other people will come in with their questions. I had one that I feel is also similarly related to Thomas's last question. I was actually wondering when, Jacques, you said the symptom could be a tool to access or grab certain desires.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how this desire relates to the anguish. How is it that we would move from an experience of anguish and inhibition to desire? Where does desire relate in terms of the knot?
You mean the desire or the object of desire?
The tool of the symptom would be a tool used to move toward, as opposed to move toward object of desire.
Mm-hmm.
So they're various, but always situated in the center at A?
Yes, that's how it is. It is figured at the point where the three or the four Taurus get stuck. And as we will see later, the structure of this object of desire can be thought as a disk. And if you try to put a disk on this center, it does not really fit very well. You can have the feeling it fits for a short while, but then it's not a good connection between. So each object of desire are changing.
And so prior to the construction of the symptom, what is the relationship to the object of desire? How is it different?
Yeah. It has to be some kind... Huh? What you say?
I think it might be easier to do a fast demonstration if I could.
Yeah.
I have in my hand a Mobius band of 3 twists. From a topological perspective, any Mobius band constructed with an odd number of twists is equivalent. If you take this band and make a cut down the center. Okay. I am cutting along the center of the strip. I've just put the scissors in and just dropped it, and I'm going along. And I've been playing with paper and scissors and tape for a while. It's lots of fun. My wife thinks I've gone insane. But what happens when you cut down the center is you get a strip that's knotted into a braid. And in the center of the braid is our old friend, the trefoil knot. It's hard to see it here. It's not an oriented presentation because to do it properly, I should have more. I'm disoriented by my camera. More writing on the strip. I'm doing this quickly. But here with one cut, you get a trefoil knot. The problem is it's not an oriented or stable trefoil knot. So I've made a second demonstration. I have a longer strip of paper with a blue stripe and a green stripe. So I'm now going to twist it 3 times. And I'm going to tape it. I'm going to affix it so that I have this kind of a loop here. And I'm going to take off camera and tape it. I recommend people play with paper and scissors and tape as a way of trying to get your hands on what's going on. So my strip now has a blue strip down the center and a green strip down the side. I'm going to cut along the blue strip, which is the equivalent of the cut I made in the other strip. So you can see here I am, I'm cutting it. It's easier for me to do this down in my lap so I don't drop it again. But I'm just cutting along the blue strip here on my piece of paper. And this is slower than I would like, but I'm not quite awake yet. I'm improvising. And I come along and I cut it, and I get it to separate, and oops, now see, this didn't work. No, it did. There is my friend, the trefoil knot, once again in the strip. I'm now going to cut along the green side to create the second cut. And you will see what happens when I make the second cut is rather than it separating, the second strip knots the knot and creates a braid that cannot be unraveled. It is just, so you can think of the first cut as that, and the second cut as analysis. And between the two cuts, you've taken something apart, but created a topological structure in which nothing can move. And this, I think, is what you're trying to get to, Jacques. Talking about what goes on with the multiple cuts. Now, this is my guy cooperating here.
We're losing your audio.
Okay.
Oh.
I didn't cut it across yet. I got cut it along and clean the part. I have one I made for when it's done properly. I have one strip of loop still had a knot. And you then have a strip of green, whole length, I apologize for the inadequacy of the demonstration. I will have material together during that time to make it clear here. But in that, to get back to what you were saying, there is and the structure is created by it. And with the second cut, another loop is created, which holds the first braid in place.
I don't know if it's my connection which is bad, or do you? Could you hear John?
No, it's John. I think it's John's mic right now is not working right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me go off camera and see what I can do. Hang on.
Yeah. Okay. What can what else can we say? It went much faster than I thought. Okay, what can we say?
Am I coming in any clearer now?
Yeah, very good. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. And
I don't know what of what I said before didn't come through, so I don't know what to repeat. I think this is a similar problem to what you were experiencing, Jacques.
yeah, exactly.
I was able to make out pretty much all the words you used, although they were really, really unclear. I could still pretty much see and hear the whole presentation. Was anybody else able to follow any of that?
Yes, I follow that, right. So it's some interesting presentation of the cut. That is, I wasn't thinking about the cut in this manner. But the presentation is, I don't know, it's maybe it's just a metaphoric cut, that you cut the motives back. Then I understood the cutting as an operation in which the formation of the imaginary and the symbolic, it occurs during development as a separation from the real. But here it's an interesting take on that. I would like to see whether it is really valid as a concept, as a concept of the cut. But just because it leads to the Borromean rings or interconnected knots doesn't really completely justify it.
See, I would take it the other way around, that the kind of hands-on demonstration, for lack of a better way to phrase it, actually concretizes the operations that are going on at the level of the psyche, at the level of the formation of the subject. In my demonstration, I'm using paper and scissors as analogs for the interweaving of the three orders. And the cut, the scissors, as an analog for the ruptures that take place because of the incursion of both the square root of -1, the imaginary phallus, and the signifier of the lack of the other. They function in the psychic structure as do the scissors. In the seminar on the purloined letter, Lacan uses the notion of punctuation, of grouping, when he works the delta topologies, where he takes the random sequence and groups them just by saying, okay, we'll start with a group of 3. Later in the seminar, they did a group of 4, and then they did a group of 5. But with any grouping, any punctuation, any break or any cut, you retroactively establish a grammar and a structure. And I think this is what gets experienced by the clinician in the clinic, that the analyzand is going around and around in structure, kind of like a Chinese puzzle, where you're looking for a way out, but you never find it. You keep coming back to where you start. And it's only by the intervention or the scansion in the discourse of the analysand by the analyst that a cut is manifested. That focusing, that punctuation, that reconfiguring of the grammar, which then knocks together the structure in a different way. The paper and scissors is an easy way to play with it, because when you take a Mobius band and cut it, I think mathematically there are 128 different possible braids that will result, some of which are mirror braids. They mirror each other, they fit together, but you cannot take a braid. Let me start that sentence over. There are ways of systematically deforming the braid, and they establish certain kinds of structure that require a certain kind of cut. Each cut has to happen in its own specific place for the kind of braiding and knotting that I was showing here to take place.
I want to add that in the process you made two cuts. By doing that, you create three entities. Because each time you cut, you build two edges. To begin with, you start with a Mobius band. Therefore, there is only one edge. And then what you add two times two edges. Okay? So now if we want to count the edges, we have 2 and 2 is 4, and the two extreme is it's 5. No, it's 5. It's not 6. You make 5 edges. And how many bands do you have when you do these two cuts? John?
I end up with 2.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have better paper next time. It'll be clearer.
No, so actually it is 4 edges. 4 edges.
Will you speak some of your image, primary image?
What you say?
If John would speak, his image would become the primary image.
You want me to speak? Okay, so I'm speaking. Am I showing up for people? I have what I said was that this is difficult to see. What I will do for people in the interim is I will put together some paper as a PDF file and email it to everybody so that we can all play with scissors and paper and tape. It's a lot different to hear me talk about it. It's a lot different just to see me do it. it's a completely different experience to do it yourself. Because the doing it of yourself, right now I'm giving you a connaissance, as it were. I'd rather you have a savoir-faire, and the only way you're going to get that is to play with scissors and paper and tape.
I'm wondering if we can bring back to anguish and desire, anguish and the objects of desire, and find out with the institution of the cuts, which may show us the tool of the symptom, how the objects of desire are related to differently after the cut than they were related to before the cut.
Depends on what cut you are talking about. Can you say that?
In John's presentation, we were starting with the Mobius band.
Yeah.
And this is some sort of primal type of a subject with an interior and an exterior which are indistinguishable. Then there is the first cut, and he said this institutes the Oedipus. So this is what is this? The introduction of the imaginary.
For me, it's very hard to use these topological figures for things that don't come to a necessity in my practice, and therefore it's for me very hard to answer your question, because the use I do of the Mobius band is something that has to deal with the how an object of the reality becomes an object of desire. The Mobius band and the projective plane seems for me very useful for when being used this way. And the Borromean knot here, for me, it's a simple way of talking about the triad Anguish, Inhibition, Symptom. And as we discussed last time, don't forget that you had 4 or 5 different points in the Borromean knot, and each has its importance because they are. I think it's easier to think of these points are as a point built by the third one. Here, the symbolic and the real with live, but the symbolic here is blocking it to make a point. And these points participate to the birth of a new object of desire. Can be the phallic jouissance, can be the passive or feminine jouissance, or it can be the acquisition of the sense. I need to get some water. Okay. I would say that the object of desire is a solution to the anguish problem. We experiment this every day. Someone who is addicted to the food, for instance, will resolve the anguish problem by eating. So it's something. It is between. It's an object of desire which is tainted by the symptom. I don't know if this gives some answer to your question.
This definitely moves toward it in terms of using the Borromean knot. To go back to the first part of the answer.
Excuse me, say again? Say again?
Yes, I think you're moving toward an answer using the Borromean knot. And the first part of what you just said was you were going to use the Mobius band, or you see a use for the Mobius band in terms of how an object of reality becomes an object of desire.
Yeah.
So can we go to the simple model of the Mobius band, and can you discuss that process?
But I'm not sure we can do that today. We can do that next time, because we need first to be all aware of what a projective plane is, and how it is built, and what it means. Because when we are going to this the direction of the Mobius band, we have to leave the 3D dimension very fast. So we have to merge ourselves in a 4-dimension space. And for those who have been through this thinking before, it's very easy, because it makes things very simple when you think them in 4D dimension. But it is the counterpart is that you cannot make an acceptable, appropriate image in the imaginary. You cannot. You can think of it but you cannot really build it or view it or see it. So maybe it's a bit, we can introduce this if you wish. What do you think?
I think if there's a way to begin to introduce the projective plane, to me that would be a good move forward. I don't know about others.
The one says no. Okay. So, okay. You all can see the whiteboard. So,
yeah.
In this whiteboard, I figure Euclidean plane. Okay. What is an Euclidean plane? Each straight line that you draw either cut another one time or never cut. Okay, so we are going to add something to this plane. We are going to say that when two lines intersect, we do not have to add anything. But when two lines do not intersect, we decide to add one point, which is a point where they will intersect, and only one. Okay?
But it seems you've added two.
Say it again.
It seems you have added two.
By definition, in one direction there is only one point. It can be here, it can be here, it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere. No, this point is not anywhere. It is exterior to the Euclidean plane. Okay. But the definition we put for this line, because there now we have built, because we have, so in each direction, we have one more point. Okay, and all these points are connected because there is one point in each direction of the line. Therefore, all these points are connected out of the Euclidean plane, and therefore we have this point we have added is called the projective point. Okay, and all these points all together is a projective line. Okay, this is the first thing that has to be and now
altogether are.
What you say?
All the points altogether are the projective line or the projective plane?
No, no. Okay, no. The projective plane. What is the projective plane? It is a Euclidean plane plus a projective line. This is the projective plane. Okay? This has to be really understood. The definition, a definition of the projective plane is Euclidean plane plus a line. And this line is such that in each direction there is one point. Therefore, it is continuous.
Is the line in the plane? And
What you say?
is the line in the plane?
It's in the same. It's in the same plane.
In the plane, okay.
But it does not. It does not belong to the Euclidean plane. It is out of this plane. It is in a way at the very end.
And is it in the plane or is it outside of the plane? Does it intersect the plane or is it outside of it? Is it parallel to the plane?
Yeah, because it's because you add a new feature in the plane. So
okay,
it
so,
is.
so it's in the plane.
What?
So it's a combination of the plane and the line that is in the plane. It's a pair. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it has to be understood. It's and before going further, this is namely what the painters called perspective. It is exactly the perspective. What is
it's the vanishing point outside of the field of the picture.
Exactly. Exactly, the vanishing point, and in each direction you have one vanishing point. So if your gaze circle, you are going to see as many vanishing points as your gaze goes to, and this can be taken in 2 dimensions, which is easier, or you can think of it in 3 dimensions. But because we are dealing with a plane, we can remain in the dimension 2. Okay?
Okay.
So, yes?
Yeah, okay, I understand. It's a geometrical construct now. Okay.
Yes, it's a geometrical construct, exactly. But now, let's see what is the major feature, property of this plane. Suppose here I have a letter which is F. Okay? A letter which is F. And I keep a copy of this one, but I let the copy goes this way. So it's going to go like this. Okay? Reaches it reaches at a time the projected line. So what happens there? Okay, we have the S here. Okay? As I said before, by definition, we only have one point in any direction. So this point A is the same as this point A. This point B is the same as this point B. So what goes here reappears here. So we're going to make this F reappear here. So what happens first is here is the big bar like this, appearing from the tip. So there is the tip. Then there is at last is the vertical bar that comes. And before there was the small bar here. Okay. Now we come back here. Okay, and like this. And for commodity, I can, because I'm on the plane, I can turn it that way. So I'm going to turn it here. It goes like this, and then I turn it. So when I turn it, it has this shape. Okay, you agree with this?
Follow this.
What?
No, I don't follow this. It's hard to see the diagram, so I'm having difficulty understanding what the bars are representing.
Ah, okay.
John,
okay.
John, I wonder if you can narrate this a little.
What's it say?
Just wondering if John could narrate this a little.
If the points on the line are equivalent, for something to leave in one direction, when it appears at the point, it is gone around halfway around a Mobius band. So it is reversed in its interest. If it reverses, okay, imagine a painting, and from the perspective of the painting, you're standing in a field looking down railroad tracks. At the vanishing point, the tracks come together. But behind you, there is the equivalent vanishing point in the plane where the tracks start out together, and as they approach you, they become parallel lines. When a train...
Say again the end of what you just said.
The point in front of you that you're looking at down the tracks from the projective line is the same point that would be behind you were you to stand in the field of, or the plane of the painting. So something that leaves ahead of you returns from behind.
Exactly.
And for those 2 points to be the same point, the one behind you and the one in front of you, they are connected as if they are on a Mobius band. You can think of the projective plane as the union of a disk with a Mobius band because both of their edges are a circle. But what returns reversed. And that's what Jacques is showing on the diagram by the way in which the F that leaves comes back in its opposite form.
Okay. Yeah, you introduced to another way of building the projective plane. First, as we are in topology, a plane which is supposed to be straight or a plane which is dense are equivalent. It's not the case in Euclidean geometry, but there it can be deformed as plastic. Okay, so now let's come to the definition of the properties of the Mobius band and the disk. Okay.
Jacques, the board, the side of the board that's closest to you is farther away from us. Can you level out the board so that it's even? Yeah.
Like this?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's gonna be better. Okay, by definition, a Mobius band has one side and one edge. Okay. Now, by definition, the disk has two sides and one edge. Do you agree with this? So I have the ability to stick together this edge with this edge, because by taking one edge along one edge, I have the right to do that. What is the result of this operation? The result of this transformation is, because I had one edge and one edge that has been thrown together, so now I've got zero edge. Okay? And what happened about the side?
I'm sorry. What were the words? Now you have what edge?
There,
on the right hand of your board.
Oh, zero edge. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero edge. Okay, no more edges because they've been thrown together. Okay? And what about the sides? The result is going to be that one side is going to be in contact of two sides. So the result is only one side now. Okay, so what have we built? We have built a surface that has only one side and zero edge. And this again is a projective plane. It's another way to describe a projective plane. Okay? So
I'm sorry. This may be difficult to do in 2 dimensions, but how are you bringing together the band and the disc? How are they being put together?
okay, no, it's impossible to do that in our 3D dimension. We can't do that. We can't because it's gonna twist and it's impossible. We can do that with this, but then you cannot do this with this. Or it's going to be the same with the Mobius band. If you try to stick a Mobius band on a disk, very fast you're going to come to some kind of impossibility. You cannot stick it anymore. Therefore, we have to think of it on the theoretical point. We say we have an edge, one edge. We have one edge. Therefore, I have the right to tape or stick them together. An edge can go along an edge, one edge. But it does not fit in our 3D dimension. You can't do that. But this transformation is legal in dimension 4. You have to add another dimension to make it possible. And then what do we have? We have an object which has 2 dimensions. It's only a plane, only 2 dimensions, and it is it can be built as an actual object in dimension 4. So we have to step over dimension 3. We started with the dimension 2 because it's a plane, and we have to step directly to dimension 4 to build it. If we were living in dimension 4, we would it would be as easy to do as a Mobius band. But we are stuck in dimension 3, and what we see around is stuck in dimension 3. But that's why I said it has you have just to deal with the mathematical dimension. You cannot deal with what you see or what you imagine. You know it's possible. You know it's possible. And you have to reason along the fact that it is real. But as it happens many times, the real does not mean that you can figure it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
So if the fourth dimension is real, and we can contemplate it theoretically, how do we know that it's not imaginary?
Okay, that's a very good question. We know it's not imaginary because it is written. We write that down. It's written there. It is written there.
Okay.
And it's a way to depict some real. Then we do not know how to imagine it precisely. It is not. You cannot imagine that. Make an image of it.
I guess a simplification of my question would be: can it appear?
I think we live
in the life of the subject. What do you mean? What do you mean by appear?
Yes. Can it actually become known by the subject?
Oh. Yes, we'll describe that next time because it's going to be too long. But it is this plane presented as this is for me the easiest way to describe how an object of reality becomes an object of desire. Therefore, we experience this. You can maybe you can invent an easier description of it, but so far, even if it's difficult to grab, I think it's the easiest thing that Lacan found, and I didn't find anything lighter. But we experience that. It's precisely what we feel. What we feel when we encounter something we would like to have, or we enjoy watching or whatever. It is so bizarre, to look at the discrepancy that there is between the actual object, real object, and what we perceive. It's there is a world between.
Well, in many ways, isn't for example, if the object of desire is another human being in terms of the relationship type of
say again the end.
If the object of desire is a person, sort of in a relationship schema,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aren't we dealing with almost three worlds? In a way?
Three worlds.
Three worlds.
Three worlds.
Yeah.
We definitely know that the person we love is different from what she actually is.
Mm-hmm.
You only have to consider your perception of the beloved at first meeting.
Oh, the sound is bad again. John. The sound is bad again.
Okay. You only have to consider, from a relationship perspective, your experience of the beloved the first time you saw them, after the first time you made love with them, and then at the end of the relationship. Who that person is in your experience is really different.
It's very hard to understand what you're saying. I'm sorry. We are really nearly impossible.
I'm not doing anything. I don't understand. How am I now? Is it any better?
You sound like a typical singer. It's an interesting effect.
Let's see if that is. Do I sound better now?
No. Well, never mind. Keep that in mind, and we will come to this next time.
Doc, can you speak again? What is the intended? What is intended to be represented by the projected plane? And what I understood from your talk is that you distorted and folded into the Mobius-like band. So what is intended to be represented by that, and what's the motivation? Why do we create the Mobius band? Why is that like the basic structure from which you want to derive the other structures? They somehow flow out of that. Is my perception right? Is the first question, is this right? Are you talking about the projected plane and folding it into a sort of a single surface structure in 4 dimensions?
Yes, that's right. I want you to depict that we have 3 or 4 different ways to build a projected plane. And this second one, the one John was referring to, is very interesting because in a way this is how we can use play with the projected plane in the practice. I would say probably the very way to use it. And you see, this transformation here is very important. Very important because, in a way, as John mentioned, the F green and the F red are in a way on each side of the Mobius band, or on each side of the projected plane. And by the way, I can mention that we are using the Mobius band as a degraded projected plane, because there the big advantage is that the Mobius band exists in our 3D world, and we can think with it, and use our knife as John did, or use our pencil to put some colors. So what we have here is actually they are not on the same side, if I can say that. And if this plane is made of paper, then when the F would be on the other side of the paper, although there is only one side.
Well, if there is only one side, then we cannot be on the other side. That's
well, it's
okay.
Yes and no. Look.
I know the language is opposing us here too.
Okay.
The language is opposing us. It's difficult to interested in language, because language doesn't really have a way to deal with structures like that.
Okay, look, this is the Mobius band. Very simple, but it doesn't matter. If I've got a S here, okay, you know, there can be on the other side of the paper. If I take just a part of the paper, I can have another S, which is maybe in the other direction. I don't know, whatever. But to be aware of the green one, I have to go all the way like this to reach it, and this takes time. At a certain time t, I cannot know what's on the other side of the paper. But if I let the time flow, then I can be aware of what's on the other side. Because I traveled, and as it has only one side, it will be a necessity that I reach what's on the other side in a way.
Right.
So
right.
it's,
I would say that locally there are two sides, but through transport transformation, you can go to the other side. There is a continuous transport along the geometric structure, which leads to the same point.
Yeah, but there
into one that is on the other side through continuous transport.
Yes, but you are describing what has only one side, because if I'm on a disk, I never can reach what's on the other side. Never. I can spend many time on this disk and never be able to reach what's on the other side. Okay, if I have a disk like this, and if there is something written here, I never be aware of what's written under.
Right. You're saying are you saying that the surface of the disk represents awareness or represents the perceptual interface with the outside world?
Not really, because as you're gonna see, we don't deal directly with the disk. We deal with the projective plane. So it's we are dealing with this continuity. And if you want to know the end of the film before in the trailer, it's in the way you are right, and in the way that when it is a disk, then you will not be able to be aware of what's on the other side. As long as it remains as a projective plane, you can have access to what's on the other side. If you let time flow. But if you are on a disk, well, but when a part turns into a disk, then you do not have access to S2. Okay?
Yeah, this is essentially Ted's question. He's without a mic right now, so I'm trying to articulate this.
What you said? I didn't know what you said.
giving credit to Ted for the question. He has no mic, so I'm asking about the perceptual interface with the world in terms of the disc on behalf of Ted.
And so, what is the question? What's the question that Ted's asking?
Yeah, well, the question was the one that Jacques was just talking to. If we're looking at the disc, is the surface of the disc supposed to represent our perceptual interface with the world?
No. I didn't say that. I say that when it is a disk, it has a special function. And when it becomes to be a disk, what's on the other side is not accessible. But we have to go much further into a description of the transformation between objects of reality and objects of desire to grab the particularity, the particularities of the aspherical zone, which is the Moses band, and the spherical zone, which is the disk.
Okay.
And this is not trivial. This is not trivial. There are some more questions because I'm starting to be exhausted.
I do have a question, and it might be trivial, but it just came to mind as to why do we have an impetus to go beyond our knowledge of the one side of the disk? It seems like there's this pull towards seeing what's on the other side of the disk. Why is that? What's the logic between the fact we're sort of constructing this opposition that there's something on the other side of the disk that we must know? Why are we doing that?
Well, it's not a must. It's this is just how the instance of our lives go. It's in a way, if I have a slip of the tongue, I can realize that very fast and say it in a different way. But when I have grabbed an object of desire, then the knowledge of the motivation that led to grab this object of desire are very hard to access to.
You say it's very hard to accept. Is that what you said?
To access to. If the object of desire has the structure of a disk, then you are staying and standing on one side. And what's on the other side is vanishing.
The word was access, Alec.
Access.
Difficult. Yeah.
Access.
Okay. Thanks, Doug.
Sure.
Okay. So next time we can go through the through the Freud approach of the object of reality and the object of desire.
Can I just ask one little quick question, though?
Sure.
Just to follow up to your last point of, and this is, I suppose you might be reiterating this, but so what's located on the disk in relation to this object of desire is, you mentioned vanishing, right? So there's some sort of process or forces. I'm presuming there's a time T, there's time involved, but you mentioned that it's vanishing. What exactly is vanishing?
I mean, the motivation is vanishing. The motivation is vanishing. Why am I interested in this new car? It's vanishing as soon as I have the car. Then, due to the fact that there is something inappropriate, then the structure can evolve. Okay, what do you think if we stop here? What do you think,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of material. Maybe some people will think about this in the meantime. We can just carry on where you said we should next week.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe if you think of questions, just write them down, and you can meet them at the next session. Well, again, it's very difficult for me what I'm doing here. I'm not really, I'm much more at ease when I'm talking to people, actual people, not only images. Even if I know that behind these images there are human beings and subjects, but it's really different. It's
an experience of the discrepancy between the objects of reality and the objects of desire.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. It is something.
John,
okay.
I'm getting some questions about whether it would be possible to have a hard copy of what's been on the board today. I wonder if John, you have any access to anything like that, or any way that you might email this.
Look, Doug, I am actually filming the session, so when I know how to work with some software, I'm gonna put them back on the internet, and can be better quality than only the WebEx. See what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I will send out email with my Mobius band paper, and if I can come up with a demonstration or two, I will include that as well. I'll try and have that out sometime next weekend.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, thank you. Thanks to you.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
again,
you.
Doug. Thanks,
Thank you,
Jacques.
Jacques.
See y'all.
Thank you.